Dala, welcome back. So today, this video is part two for 2024 and beyond. Some of the suggestion and recommendation that I have for you that hopefully will help you. So last time we stopped at number 7, so I'm going to pick up at number 8. Number 8 is stop wasting your time procrastinating, doing things that do not serve you, arguing with people who don't care about you, arguing on over everything and anything. Put that energy to use. Put that energy to work for you instead of against you. Time is one of the finite resources that we do have. This is why it has to be, you have to view it as something very precious. What you decide to do with your time is very, very important. So stop wasting it and use your time wisely. Suggestion number 9, learn about things you were told not to dare to. So we've already talked about gardening, having your own, growing your own food, but it's more deepening in things. If you were told that, gardening was for the farmers or was beneath you and things like that, it may be a time for you when you were called towards that. It may be a time for you to explore gardening or to explore herbalism, learning about plants and vegetables or animals and things like that. Start exploring that. Start really going to the knowledge that's calling you. And in that same aspect, there are many, many, many areas. I couldn't cite all of the different areas that I have been called to explore over the years. And of course, each of them will require a lifetime to become an expert in. So I will recommend for you, it's better for you to focus on one area and you really explore it fully and master it, giving it as many time, as many years as necessary, rather than deep and dabbing in everything. And I know it's kind of like trendy today to just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But the problem with that is that if you do not understand, have some level of depth, when you go do, for example, astrology or tarot or astronomy or anything like that, then you may just jumble and mumble everything else and not gaining any true knowledge out of it. Okay, so it's much better for you to focus on one thing, go deeply into that thing, understand the rudiment of that thing, even if you don't get to an advanced level, that you at least master the basic level, the introductory level. Okay, if you have to move to a different subject because you bored or whatever the case may be, or call towards something else, at least master the introductory level. Understand that. And to name few areas that could be of interest: astronomy, astrology, telepathy, numerology, telekinesis. And I'm emphasizing telepathy and telekinesis because those are abilities that you can develop within yourself. Even mediumship, if you already had gift in terms of vision and things like that, use them. Start documenting your path with that. Start asking questions to yourself about those things. Start looking at ways to perfect them. Start even seeking teachers or people who are a bit more advanced, have been doing it for a little bit longer than you, to help with your gifts. Of course, always use your discernment, and that's another point another recommendation we'll come to. But make sure you learn to understand how things work, learn to comprehend how to use those things, and do not learn things to use them to abuse other people or to manipulate other people. What I'm talking about is really using the knowledge to better yourself, to be more resourceful, to be also an asset to your community, to your family, or to any relationship that you're in, whether it's friendship or uh, romantic relationships. And yeah, just do it with the purest intention that you may have. Because whatever you do, if with ill intention or negative intention, it's going to come back to you. And that's been my stand. Okay, um, suggestion number 10. If you do have children, get to know them. And I know this sounds so futile, this sounds so simple, but I've seen so many parents that, you putting anything else in front of your kids, your job, the money you need to make, whatever goal, whatever business you have, your achievement, and anything like that. And especially if you're a woman, your children should be coming first within your goals. So within your goals, knowing your children should be your goal number one. The little human beings that you are raising, you should know them, you should know who they are. And this is It's so important for the time that we are in, because this is a transitional time. And that, for example, those rainbow children, the crystal children that we were waiting for, well, in order for them to activate, they need to have the proper resources, the proper teachers, the proper what do you call it, the proper activation. And that activation comes from the parents, because you're the one that are closest to them. And if you do not put that work or invest in that, then you're not going to see that. And then, at this day and age, you shouldn't, your kids, a child that's under 7 year old shouldn't have any contact with a phone or a tablet. I'm sorry that I have to say this, but if your child does not know what a fruit, an apple, or a bird look like, and cannot go outside and play, and doesn't even want to go outside and play, there's a major, major problem. So, my suggestion number 10 is basically for you to take the time to know your child. Know your child. Who is this child? What is his purpose? Where did he come in now? What does your child know and love, and what does he hate? What is he scared of? If he's scared of anything. How is your child using their imagination? Spend time with your children, speaking to them, teaching them, but also listening to them and seeing what they have to teach you. Have you ever listened to a toddler tell you a story? Tell you a story about the moon, about the stars. Let them teach you what they have to teach you, what they came here with to teach, before you start brainwashing them into everything else, your religion, your political views, and anything else. Okay. Suggestion number 11: review and assess and evaluate the type of friends and the type of company you keep. This is also very, very important, that, let's say you are the sum of the 5 friends you spend the most time with. And if you don't spend time with anybody, you're probably the sum of the 5 people you watch the most if you're spending time online. Or if you, yeah, so be very wise in terms of the friends and the company you keep. Assess them, make sure that their goals is aligned with yours, that your lifestyle, your morality, your expectation, your spirituality it's somewhat aligned. Don't be hanging out with people that give you ideas that are very detrimental to you, because as they keep staying next to you, they will sooner or later influence you somehow, even without you noticing. So be wise about who you select as a friend, who you bring into your own circle, and how you see them. Suggestion number 12: remember to smile. There are hard times that are going to be ahead. There's tumultuous times are coming. So we already know it's going to be hard. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be hard all the time, and it doesn't mean that you need to be, focused on the work all the time. This is basically to remind yourself to smile. Smiling is free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it relaxes you. It also has some beneficial effects in for your body, also for your spirit. As I say, take the time also to smell the roses or smell the coffee, as I say. It's not because you have a lot of things to do and hard work to put in that you cannot take 5 minutes to just catch your breath, or 5 minutes to just enjoy some of the basics, joys of life, whatever that may be. Maybe looking at the butterfly, listening to a bird sing, things that are free, that are around you, just, smiling back to somebody who's smiling at you. So just remember to do that. You don't have to be having a harsh face, even when you're going through things that may be hard. And sometimes you need to remind yourself, because sometimes you may be so ingrained in the work and the frustration from what you're going through, what you have to do, and anything like that, that it shows up on your face. It shows up on how your muscles are. You contracted, frowning and things like that. And for you to just take the moment to be like, oh, okay, let me relax. And this is even more important if you have a spouse and if you have children. Because even though we each have a purpose and work to do, the children are not going to get it if you're frowning for some other reasons that they're not private to. You need to take that time to relax and be with them, and be more relaxed with them. and not, put that burden everywhere. And it's going to be also good for you because you can be contracted and frustrated all the time. You also do need to relax. And I think smiling is such a noble way to put an imprint in the world, even in a dark world or a darker world. Suggestion number 13: choose wisely and use a discernment at all times, no matter who is proposing what. So this is something a recurring theme that I've always been telling you. You have to use your discernment no matter what. It's related and linked to your intuition. But sometimes when you see people that you trust, you tend to not have to verify, you tend just to eat their words. No, you still have to use your discernment. You still have to go through the process of spending time with what they're saying, verifying, like, is what they're saying true? Is what they're saying useful to me now? Maybe useful to me later. Is it what they're saying aligned with my own goal? Is what they're saying or what they're suggesting for me aligned with my morality, with my spiritual path, with my spiritual practice, with who I want to become? So those are questions that you need to ask yourself continually, no matter whether it is your pastor telling you something, your imam, whether it is some spiritual guru that you're following, even when it is a teacher. Spend time with whatever is being offered to you and assess it. Use a discernment. It may be that it's not for you. It may be that it's not for you right now. It may be that it's actually something that's very, very crucial or essential for you to know and use. But use your discernment. Suggestion number 14. If you make goals for your well being, this should not be restrained just for your physical health. And I'm saying this because usually at the beginning of the year, people make whole kind of resolutions and health goals, going more to the gym, eating more healthy, etc., etc. What I'm telling you here is like what is mostly being neglected is your mental and your spiritual health. And usually when you take care of your spiritual health, your physical and mental health will align. So I will prioritize having spiritual goals to maintain your spiritual health rather than having physical goals that you move up every year or having mental goals that you are struggling with. And of course, if you do have mental issues, sometimes focusing on your spiritual practice may also address some of it. But if you do have mental issues, do address them. You cannot just state that you have anxiety and not do anything about it. Sometimes researching what is the cause, what is the source, what is giving you anxiety, when did it start? Having some basic things like that sometimes gets you to the root of the problem, because sometimes medication and all those things don't only treat the symptoms and never go to the root causes of it. And seeking help in doing those things or addressing those things if you need to. So it's very important. And your spiritual health is soon going to be a lot more important than your physical or your mental health. As I've mentioned, focusing and spending time on your spiritual health will help you address and maintain your mental and physical health. So the spiritual will guide and correct the mental and the physical, as well as the health of your other bodies. I'm talking about the ethereal bodies, psychological body, emotional body, etc., etc. But if you start with the spiritual, it encompasses everything else. So you have a more holistic approach. Suggestion number 15. If you want to get pregnant, or you think you will want to get pregnant in the future later on, or thinking about having a family at some point, it's extremely, extremely important that you start learning about it now. That means learning about it starting in your teens or in your 20s. The earlier, the better. And what you're learning about is learning about conception, learning about the pregnancy journey, learning about giving birth, learning about postpartum, and learning about how to take care of a newborn and toddler. And all of those things, I mean, if you don't have any resources at all, then go to books and learn within the books. But I would say that the best way to learn about any of this, to learn about pregnancy, postpartum, and caring for a newborn or a toddler, is to be around the people who are involved. That means to learn about pregnancy, be around other women who are pregnant. For example, if your aunt is pregnant, your cousin is pregnant, somebody in your family is pregnant, be around them. Use your free time to be around them. This is how you will learn about what kind of ailment they're complaining about, the things they're happy about, the things they're sad about. You will be able to observe also how the hormones are affecting their emotional state, and to witness that. You'll be able to see how do you actually take care of the baby, how do you hold the baby, what the baby needs, how to be tuned with the baby, and learning it by doing it, by seeing it, not learning it from somebody saying it to you or somebody writing it in a book. It's so, so important that you get secondhand experience by being around somebody who's pregnant, by holding the baby yourself, firsthand experience, you doing the caring, you holding the baby when the baby needs to be changed, you changing the baby, because that will prepare you much better than waiting for you to get pregnant and then starting to learn about those things. And I know because this is what I've done. So I, by the age of 11, 12 years old, I was already able to change a baby, take care of a baby, and assist. And I used to go to dinner parties with my parents, especially when they had friends who had kids, and I would take care of the babies, the toddlers. I became what some of us call the baby whisperer. When you are able to hold the baby in your hands and know exactly what the baby needs, when the baby is basically almost whispering to you what they need and what they want. And that will develop incredible abilities to you in terms of like being able to sing the baby to sleep, to sing the baby to calmness, to give the baby attention that the baby needs, and to be wholly focused on the baby, not distracted by TV or somebody else, or speaking to somebody else while you're holding the baby, really giving the attention. So start thinking about those things very early, the same way you are taught to think about the career and what you want to do when you be bigger. In terms of the family, start thinking about what it would look like. And if you think you want to have kids and how want to have a family on your own, then you need to think about it very seriously. Meaning that the decision, if you're going to go to the movie with this boy, is this boy having the characteristic of who you will want to be a father later on? This is how serious that you need to be, because you won't have time. And we said that time was the most precious resources that you do have. Time is finite. That's why it makes it even more important that you use your time very, very wisely. So nowhere did I say you need to run off with the first person you meet and start having kids anyhow. It's still a process, the same way you are choosing what career you want to do. So you have to know what training you need to do, go into that career. Then it's the same thing when, if you know you want to have a family, you need to see what type of men are you looking at and what kind of compromise you are willing to make in a relationship. And that in every decision that you make dealing with that area of your life, that you make that decision based on the fact that you want to end up with somebody hopefully will stay with you forever, and men with you that family, and that you could grow old together. Now, I do have to address one more thing, is that if you are somebody who thinks that you don't want to have kids, you don't want to have a family, and you already know that for sure, which is fine. But however, the one thing that you still need to be thinking about, just like everybody else, is that one of the reasons why the model of having a family is being pushed so much, no matter what civilization you go through, that's the main model. That's the main model that's been taught to everyone. Why? Because it's a model that is self-sustainable. Parents have children, then the children grow up, they have themselves children, and then the children and the grandchildren take care of the grandparents. Okay, so it's a self-sustaining model. From the moment that you don't want to have kids, it creates an imbalance. And because there's imbalance, you need to start thinking about what are the resources that are going to be available to you as you get older, and as you don't have any children, and for those of you who are only child, you don't have any cousins, there's no one no siblings, no nephews, nothing. Now you're going to have to go beyond your own family and look at strangers, look at friends, look at other people, make arrangements for people to be able to take care of you once you get old. And the terms of that arrangement, you have to start thinking about it. So you still have a reflection to make, when you're thinking about what your family will look like in the future. Maybe it's just you and your husband, that's it. That means you still need to think about, as you and your husband get older, how you will care for yourself when you're not physically able too? Who will be there to assist you? And you sort of have to thinking about that. And the last thing I will say, because I've been in groups now, pregnancy groups with groups for conception and groups for women who are pregnant, and the amount of younger and younger women who are having difficulty conceiving and difficulties keeping the pregnancy is just growing. So this is why if you think that you want to have a family, or you think you may want to have a family later on, start thinking about it the earliest, because the more you wait and the harder it may become for you, especially because we are in this transition time, especially because I would say almost naturally or environmentally is going to be a little bit hard. But if you start thinking about the things early, you have a step ahead. That means if there are any physical difficulties that you were not aware of, the earlier you are aware of them, the more time you have to, you know, take care of them and heal them. Because the longer you wait, the older you get, the harder it may become. And that's just a reality that needs to be underlined, especially for women. It doesn't mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible or anything like that. I'm just saying it's going to be harder. Okay. And sometimes people wish they had been told that. And the last one, suggestion number 16, is for you to be less reliant on technology and what I say the so called sciences. If you've been long enough on this channel, you know that for me, spirituality is not a science. Your relationship with the divine is not a science. It is what it is. It is a spiritual matter. And I make the intentional distinction between the sciences that are being man-made, developed by man in labs and whatever else, even the, what do you call it, the philosophical sciences is in the same bag, which are man-made, which are man-based, man-centered most of the time, versus spirituality, which can go either ways, which does not depend on your own belief. Spirituality does not care about what you believe or what you don't. And so being less reliant on technology, for me, is just for you to understand that there may come a time where this technology is not available anymore, where the internet doesn't work, where electricity is not there. And you still need to strive. You still need to be able to function and go about your business and do everything that you needed to do. So if you're too reliant on technology, some of you can have a breakdown when you're not able to get on the internet, you're not able to get to YouTube or to your whatever, your Instagram page, or your Facebook page, and start having a breakdown, mental breakdown, or mental anxiety, or all kind of things just because of that. But if you're not as reliant on technology, this is why in a lot of the suggestions I told you, yes, there are YouTube videos and things like that that you can go to. You can make sure you have them downloaded. But if you have no electricity and no access to view those videos, then, for you, the knowledge is lost. This is why I say, okay, you can go back to books, but the best thing is for you to listen to it and to take notes so that you download them within your own mind. Because once it is in your mind, you will always have access to it through meditation and through other ways, going within yourself and getting that information within yourself. But if you are relying on technology, on the internet being on the electricity working, on so many different things, right? If you think about it, you have to have a computer. The computer has to be functioning. The internet has to be functioning. Electricity has to be on. And the website, whatever, or the site that you're going to get the information has to be working as well. So if you think about it, there's a lot of things that have to be there, a lot of F that have to be there. And if any of those things don't work, like if the website is not working well, the internet and all this side is not going to help you much. So just realizing that and still using technology when it serves you to gain time, to be able to do certain things faster, etc. But be very cautious of how you use technology and for what purpose, and think about the consequences of the technology, or whether you should even be using technology at all in certain aspect of your life. There are things to me where I see that technology is being introduced in certain areas where it shouldn't. And this is probably the subject of another video. So this is the last point I leave you with, Don't be too reliant on technology. If even best for you, if you can, if you strive without it, at least if you strive without being dependent on it. And this is why I always told you there's a mix. Use what you have that's open and available for you online. So this is a great resource to network, to meet other people, to do a lot of things, to have business also and all of that. But at the same time, you should also using that in the real world, meaning the local people around you, your friends, your family, your acquaintances, the businesses that are physically in your area and things like that. That should be as important or even more. And so, as always, I hope this suggestion will be useful to you. I probably will do another series going through each of those if that's beneficial. If you think that that will be beneficial, and if, for me to do it because I'm already inclined. If only one of you said it will be beneficial, then I actually will go into that just to make sure that I break it down a little bit further for each recommendation. And the last thing I will say to close this video is simply to tell you that 2024 is going to be what you make it. Like every year is only going to be what you make it. You will get as much as from this year as you put in. And I think the more prepared you are, the better you will be when faced with difficult situations and everything else. And to me, I don't really spend too much time in a lot of distractions and a lot of, things, a lot of distraction on this channel. Most of the time, when I want to show you a TV show or something like that, is because there's something of value in there for you to pick up or to learn or to use or to think about. And I think there's enough channels where if you needed to be entertained to take a break, like we say, sometimes you need to take a break from certain things that you can use. But I do hope that you learn and that whatever I've put here, some of it will be useful for you to continue to grow and become this better version of the person that you want to be. And of course, as always, if you have wisdom pearls that you want to share as well, any of these points, or if you want to add on to the suggestion that are there, please do share in the comments. And of course, if you have questions, as always, leave them in the comment section. And whenever I have time, I'll try to answer them. All right, so for 2024, my wish to you is only to make this year what it should be for you and nothing less. Bye.